Come on up. Scott Farida, who I see as a young Republican, and also running for Oakland County Prosecutor. I'll tell you one thing. I was reading up about Scott. He's never lost a case. Is that right?
Yep.
That's pretty good for a prosecutor. That keeps us safe. Thanks, Scott. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Matt. So first off, I want to thank Matt for considering me young. I appreciate it. Nice start to things. My name is Scott Farida. I am running for Oakland County Prosecutor. I really appreciate you all having me here today. I appreciate Matt setting everything up, and I saw all the little flyers he was taking around places. And I just want to open with, I haven't got much sleep the last few days overall, and I was feeling tired most of the day. But especially on the drive over and seeing so many people here, it is so energizing seeing how many people care about what's happening in their own backyard, that they're not just sitting around saying, oh man, you know, I guess it is what it is. And we are in a point of major crisis when it comes to crime. And I'll just leave you all, or I should say open, with the flavor of the office, because I was in the prosecutor's office just shy of 6 years. I left in June of last year, and I was predominantly an assistant prosecuting attorney. I was acting chief of the Family Support Division as needed from early 2022 up until the time I left. I presented to the Prosecuting Attorneys Association of Michigan, earning the Rising Star Award, the Michigan Title 4D program, the Michigan Judicial Institute to Judges statewide, and the Michigan Institute for Continuing Legal Education. Now I'm ready to fix the problems in place. So to begin, thank you. So to begin, my opponent, Karen McDonald, had a number of office-wide meetings that attorneys were encouraged, there we go, I'm trying to get the right distance, encouraged to attend. And her chief of litigation told the attorneys office-wide, we do not represent the victim. That's good at election time. Yeah, think about that. That type of rhetoric is used. The first meeting we ever had, and this is in February of 2021, she brought in a speaker that talked about undercharging crimes. Now, normally I do the point, but this is a bigger room, so any of you thinking murder as the example, yes, murder was the example. We were told outright, just because you can charge murder one, doesn't mean you have to. In terms of the crimes that people, not charging every crime a person committed, again, murder was the example. We were told that from that gentleman that when he was in Wayne County, they would charge murder one, felony firearm, the list would go on forever. Yeah, I would hope that when someone commits cold-blooded, premeditated murder, they would be charged with all the offenses they committed and prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And this is the issue that we face as a community. Because you're going to hear from Sheriff Bouchard later, and he does a fantastic job and has a great team. But the deputies in Oakland County, or the police officers, the state troopers, whomever, can arrest a person, but it is up to the prosecutor to charge. And if they undercharge or refuse to charge, then it's like it didn't happen. You could catch someone shooting another person in the head, but if there is never any criminal charges and there is no disposition, legally it's as though it didn't happen. And that is what's going on in terms of the rhetoric and in terms of in practice how pleas are done, what's actually occurring. Let me give you the raw numbers, because I pulled the state records for crime in Oakland County from 2020 to 2022, crimes against persons, so stalking on the low end, murder on the high end. That went up 7.93%. 2 years, and there was no dip because of the pandemic. In terms of property crime, the total property crime is now in excess of what it was pre-pandemic, and that was a steep climb back up percent-wise, 18.66% in 2 years. Crime overall for all the categories in Oakland, reported Oakland County, about 12.48%. And based on the rumors from the Warrants Division for submissions before I left, I'm guessing when 23 stats come out, we're going to be even higher. And this is something that's put into practice. This isn't just rhetoric. You know, I mentioned the undercharging crime because I encourage you, look at pleas in Oakland County. That's the problem, is what type of things get pressed and who reads them. There are horrible cases. There was and it's not just murder. Near the end of last year, Oakland Press reported on a guy who was caught trying to meet up with a minor for an illicit sexual encounter. Luckily, he met law enforcement and he was arrested. During the course of the investigation, he was found to be in possession of sexually abusive material as well. And you would think this seems like a pretty clear-cut case. Well, Karen McDonald's team pled that guy down. And one of the pleas was dismissing a count that has consecutive sentences. For most of you, or for those of you who don't know, most crimes are concurrent sentencing, which means, let's say a person sentenced to 2 years on one crime, 2 years on another. They're not in there for 4 years. They're in there for, it's running at the same time. Consecutive is one after another. So that is a big deal. And this is, again, the issue that we're facing in our county. The biggest case I want to talk to you about is one of the ones I find most reprehensible, and that's Hayes Bacall. Show of hands. Who heard about the Bacall case? Okay, about 3 people. Kind of proving my point here in terms of what's going on. So, you may have heard from by reading in the Detroit News, but Hayes Bacall murdered his nephew in his own business over money. Went there, shot him 12 times, hit him 10 of the times. Went to trial, was convicted of first-degree murder, sentenced to life in prison. Now, you would think that after 12 years going to trial, it's an open and shut case now. It's done, it's closed. The family can hopefully get some measure of peace. Not under Karen McDonald's watch. Suddenly, there's a decision made from a report in the CIU that, you know what? Maybe it shouldn't have been murder 1. Maybe it should be murder 2, which isn't a life sentence, into term of years. And a few interesting things. They predominantly said that 2 witnesses are canted. I'll get back to that. But most of you who heard about this were the massive influx of money to Karen McDonald's campaign while decisions were being made, including from the murderer's family. What was not reported on is the defense attorney during her initial campaign also gave her $2,800 minimum based on campaign finance reports. So you have money coming in 2 directions, and you would think, maybe this isn't the person who should be making that decision. You know, there's the appearance of impropriety, and then also this is someone who's never tried a homicide case up to that point and has never tried a murder. Nope, her chief assistant, which is her right hand and head of the CIU, told the judge in open court that it was her decision, that a report goes up to the prosecutor, I believe the quote was, for her eyes only. So I stress this case because this was a joint motion. Prosecutor and defense attorney going hand in hand, marching down like it's the Wizard of Oz or something. And yet this motion was so baseless that the judge, the independent fact finder, denied it. One of these 2 witnesses, the judge found that they lacked so much credibility that a reasonable jury could not believe them. And then the judge also stressed that she had gone through everything presented at trial. The murderer made a call from the back seat of the patrol car admitting to the murder. But again, this is the situation. Compare that and how that murder case was treated to other cases that you see Karen McDonald in the press. If she can capitalize on a case in the press, she does it and will act as though she's tough. And all these other cases like here, there was no question that this person did not kill his own nephew. At no point did the prosecutor's office staff say, oh, we believe it's not true. But they felt that it was necessary to take the time and resources to try to give this guy a chance to get out of prison. Imagine the victims. I'll go back to that we do not represent the victim. Imagine you're the wife of someone who's brutally killed. You're the kids. You have at least a measure of comfort knowing that the person who took this person from you, who left that void in your life, will have a measure of justice. And then you find out, oh, no, they have a chance to go. So I want to just leave you with the reality of where we're headed, because it's not a matter of are we going to get as bad as California. Second presenter Chever brought in, I encourage you all to Google this person later, Emily Bazelon, a far-left progressive prosecution activist who showered praise as to how things are done in California, specifically LA, and I want to say San Francisco. It's not if, it's when. This is the guiding light of my opponent. This is who she surrounds herself with, who she has talked to the attorneys under her. Yeah, this person's got a good idea because, yeah, California's sure a model, huh? Everything just works out great there. Crime, budget, what have you. And one of the very notable things that stuck out to me in that meeting was we were also told about the reality when people are let out who shouldn't necessarily be out. And she said outright that bad things are going to happen. I'm trying to go off memory and paraphrasing, but she basically said you just have to weather through it, that this is just so important that we need to do this, we need to take that step for progressive prosecution. And that's why we need to change fundamentally. I want to stress to you all, I'm not looking to swing things to the far right. We need common sense approaches. Things such as the drug court. A personal example for me is I had brain surgery just before I turned 19. I was sent home with a bottle of Dilaudid this big. It's because my mom told me to don't take that, it's habit forming, that I took Tylenol and it was miserable. But how many people were lied to? I see that Matt's looking to push me on, so I really appreciate all your time. I have a ton of business cards. I'll be around to answer questions, and hopefully you'll stand with me in making Oakland County safer. Thank you.
Scott Farida, thank you so much, Scott. Good luck to you in your campaign.